What's the approach selection-wise? Because you've got a group of games now, haven't you?
Yeah, so we've kind of objective from the competition, as I've said before, is getting trying to get a home game in the knockouts. Obviously, the knockouts as a minimum, but then growing the squad as well. So if we are going to kind of freshen up a little bit and give some youngsters a chance, you've seen that with Tom and Steph. Is to do that in this competition. So not wholesale changes, but if there's a chance to give a youngster a go, or someone who hasn't had as much game time as they'd have liked to go, then we'll use it for that as well.
Does a home time mean winning these two realistically?
Probably, yeah. I think it's always difficult to try and guess in this competition because you never know what selection's going to be like. But I think it will probably come down to that, or at least getting six or 7 points maybe out of the two games. So we're going to go over there really positive and try and get 5 points. That's our approach.
It's quite rare in the sense this opposition that most people don't know an awful lot about. What have you learned about them?
Probably a little bit of that actually. They've pretty structured in their attack in terms of their shape, but because of probably you never know what the selection is like. I think if you look at their selections, they did make a lot of changes for the Cheetahs. For the Cheetahs and the Connaught game, so they'll probably be the same as us and make some changes. So especially after the Ospreys games, we've decided to kind of focus more on ourselves. So most weeks it'll be probably an 80-20 split, but we've probably gone more 95-5 in terms of just trying to get our best game on the field.
So Regan's in the building for a few days now. Is he a viable starter?
Yeah, so Regan will start. Yeah.
Did he not play for Bath?
No.
No. Right, so if he hasn't played,
yeah,
he played in Benetton.
Yeah,
but he is different competition. Yeah.
So
is it because it's a different competition?
Yeah.
But then how come Louis Hennessy would be captain? Or is it because it's a full transfer?
3-month contract.
It's because he's come for the rest of the season, Regan.
He's a full transfer, whereas Louis alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him so far?
He's fast. So I actually showed we previewed Leon. They've got a long kicking game, so we kind of had a plan of how to attack from long kicks, and then I showed one of Regan's tries for St Helens when he's gone the length of the field from a long kick, and said like the other plan is to just do this if we can. So yeah, he's exciting. He's an exciting player. Listen, he's only going to have had 3 training sessions, so he's not going to know all of our calls and be massively up to speed with our game, but like we don't want to kind of fill his head with too much. If we can get him the ball early in space, he's an exciting player. So hopefully we get him some ball.
He's had no luck at all since the transfer. He's had very little union. But over the years, is it fair to say, do you think, that the wingers, back 3 players, are able to adapt to the switch easier than others, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, like around set piece, there's a lot more technical detail, and then half backs, it's just a very different game in terms of managing your sets and momentum. So yeah, I think that's where you probably is the easiest transfer is around the wing 15 potentially.
Is the toughest part for a winger from league coming defensively? Because you can, I say, hide in inverted commas. Perhaps more in league, they tend to drop behind. Is that where the biggest challenge is?
I think as a wing, it's quite similar because it's a lot of edge v edge in rugby league, isn't it? So, like my first instinct, he's pretty good in that area. It's usually the kicking game, counter attack that. Obviously, because it's set to 6 in league, but yeah, like he's got so many transferable skills.
When you say he's fast, how
faster than me.
Fast? Is he beat Gethin? Is he compared to other players that you've coached?
Oh, he's up there. Yeah, I've not seen him at full speed yet, but obviously I've seen enough footage of him to know that if he gets half a chance, he's got very fast feet in terms of how quickly he runs, but also how quickly he changes direction. So, yeah, listen, without putting too much pressure on him, he's an exciting player, talented. As you said, not had a huge amount of game time, so he will take a little bit of time to get up to speed as well. Yeah, well, Well, Darren Allenton actually is done the work. I think what helps, Cornel is knows Johan van Graan. I get on pretty well with their attack coach, Lee Blackett. So I think I'd like to think that they trust players coming here. We're going to look after them. Yeah, so no, we're pleased with those two lads, and obviously them being Welsh qualified, it's a good connection for us.
Yeah. So in terms of Regan, have you signed him? Is he your player?
We've signed him to the end of the season, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that when his
So
contract ends?
to be clear with it, obviously Mason got injured in Welsh
Yeah.
camp, so we got compensation for Mason.
Yes.
He's been brought in with that compensation money for Mason, yeah,
Yeah,
until the end of the
I
season.
wondered where the money might have come from. Yeah.
Yeah, so did I actually. So we've got Harry Millard injured, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
Theo, Ewan Stevens. Like we don't want to go from Josh playing it not a lot to every week,
Yeah.
so we need to give him some time. So the only wingers available, obviously, last week were Josh. Gabe got a concussion, so he's going to be out for 12 days minimum. So we've got Tom Bowen and Regan, so there are three at the moment.
Yeah.
Can you give us an update on the other wingers you mentioned, like Mason and Theo, where timescales on potential returns?
Yeah, I think Mason will be around the Six Nations. Theo still got a little bit of time, so we'll no real update on either of them in terms of when they're targeted to come back, because they were quite long term. It will just be when they're ready. But yeah, we're hoping not too far away.
Who controls Mason's return then? If Warren picks him in the squad, do you say, "Don't go, son. You've got to play for
Oh
us"?
no, it'll be joined up really.
Yeah.
If Mason's fit to go in camp, then he'll go in camp with our
Yeah.
blessing. But it'll be conversations between their medics and our medics
Yeah.
and S&C really.
So from a fitness point of view, given he's sort of aerobic or anaerobic, he should be okay. But I mean, from taking some knocks, it'd be a hell of a thing to go from the game he got injured into a first international, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he'd probably have to spend a bit of time in camp
Yeah.
and get a couple of weeks training under his belt first. So he's a little bit off that yet, but it will be around that period. So, but it's quite a lengthy period, and it's 6-7 weeks. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'll be at the start of it, but we're hoping he'll be back fit around that period.
Yeah. Great.
Is Millard close yet? Harry Millard?
No, similar to Mason. Yeah,
February, March.
yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? That's been probably a big challenge this season in terms of last year. Obviously, there was lots of youngsters blooded. Like this year, we've probably got a little bit more choice in terms of squads, a little bit bigger. Got some more experienced players back. So I've tried to be kind of fair to the players and communicate with them as well as I can in terms of don't go week to week. So don't think it's brilliant if your name's on a team sheet one week and then the week after if it's not a disaster. They've just got to keep moving in the right direction for the next 12, 18, 24 months. If they just go, am I in the autumn squad? If I am brilliant, am I in the Six Nations? Their career will just, and their emotions will just vary too much. So it's about at 20, 21 years of age, just trying to be sensible with their development and understand that, like, unfortunately in rugby, this very, very rarely a straight line unless you're in that top probably 1%.
You just mentioned him then, McKenzie. I've just seen him training out there. He's obviously, has he recovered from that shoulder?
Yeah, so it's the first week he's been fully available. So he obviously had a bang on his AC for the RFC and the SRC. So he'll be involved this week.
Oh, he will, will he?
Yeah, yeah.
Because is that his first involvement this season for you?
No, I don't think it is. He played early on in the season, then he's picked up a couple of injuries, and as I was just saying as well, Toby's back and he's not a bad player. Obviously, our Lawrence, Jim Botham was injured a little bit last year, so it's competitive. Back row, I think, probably in all the regions, isn't it? It's the most competitive probably area in the country, really.
It is interesting the point you make, though. You know, you look at Alex Mann, McKenzie, Lucas De La Rua plays against Toulouse last year and is now playing regularly in the Cardiff RFC. But how do you manage their careers positively so that they don't just say, well, I had that high
and that's where I should be now. You know, you don't
Yeah.
go to one peak and stay there all the way, do you?
That's the challenge, and I think having good experienced players around him help him with that as well, because say even the likes of Toby, who's top end, three-time tourist with the British Lions, he's had a lot of peaks and troughs as well in his career with injury, and like not so much with selection with Toby, but most players, like some coaches will like them, some not so much. They'll have injuries, they'll have dips in form. So like part of being a professional rugby player, and in most jobs, is about not getting too high when it goes well, and not thinking it's the end of the world when it didn't go too well. So I think just trying to remind him of that constantly is massive, and also be really clear with what they need to work on. So obviously form will go up and down a little bit, selection will go up and down a little bit, but if they've got 2 or 3 work-ons, maybe a physical work-on, attacking work-on, defensive work-on, and they keep chipping away at that, I think that just keeps them on a little bit more of an even keel.